Okay, so we're just going to demonstrate muscle testing. So I'd like someone, possibly, who's never been muscle tested before.
I've never been.
Yeah, anybody? Okay, plenty of goes. Okay. And you are? Julie. Okay. Jolie. So just turn you that way around. So what we're going to do is, dowsing, you're just using your body energy, to assess what's needed. Muscle testing, you're using your energy, but you're also using that of your client, right? So although muscle testing is sometimes a little harder to learn initially, it's got an advantage, the fact that it's not just your energy, you're actually accessing that of your client. Okay, so muscle testing is a word that is difficult, but that's how it's come to be known. But actually you're not actually testing the strength, right? So I'm going to ask Jolie just to put her arm up straight, right? And I'm going to be muscle testing her. I'm going just to see, set up the energy in her body anyway. And it's a very gentle process of just pressing down on somebody's arm or muscle, whatever you're using, until you feel resistance, and then stopping. Okay, all right? So, and this is actually how I would do it. If I was exploring and getting ready to work with her, I'd first of all check that she got a muscle that works. In other words, it does work somewhere along the line. Okay. All right. Now, what I'm going to do now is you just put your hand there. I'm going to deliberately weaken her system so you can see what it's like when the muscle testing goes into its no phase, if you like, or its negative phase.
Ooh.
Okay. Does that feel strange?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I repeat it again. Okay. Just relax. Okay, does that feel so weak?
That very, very light, extremely light.
So that's weak, very weak, and that's not so weak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now actually what I'm doing, what you can't see, is I'm actually on her back to deliberately weaken her to show you what it's like when you've got a negative test. I'm just placing one finger on a muscle. But if I put two fingers there, it actually strengthens. It's still not so weak. It's still maybe, you probably hold it a little bit more, hold it up a bit more. That's it. That's it. Not so weak. So you see what happens is when the person's energy system is intact, any muscle I might use, I'm using this one just because it's a good one to demo, it stays strong. But as soon as there's a stressor applied, it's almost like the electrics. The body electrics breaks down and the muscle becomes weak. Okay. So if you want to sit down, just try. We have somebody else. Come on. Because when you're actually doing muscle testing and you're learning, this is what you do. you actually try. You actually try with a lot of people, because the interaction between me and my client is going to vary every single time I have a different client. So what I'll do first of all, just make sure we have a muscle that works. So just hold your arm up for me a little bit. Okay. No, not quite as strong as that. A bit less. That's fine. So just hold it to that sort of pressure, yeah? And again, if I deliberately weaken, and I've strengthened it back up again. Right, you can hold, just keep it the same, that's it. You can feel the difference.
Yeah, it's weird actually.
Yeah? Makes you feel sort of,
Yeah, I've got a hot flush as well.
Yeah. Okay. And so the main thing with muscle testing, it's not a test of strength. I'm not going like this. It's actually very gentle. You're saying it's actually very gentle.
Yeah.
Because what I'm actually testing, I'm testing the energy in the muscle. I'm not testing the physical strength.
Okay.
It's the energy flow in the muscle. So that's why it's like electrics. If you break it, the energy flow goes.
So where are you pressing here then? To be
I could do it anywhere.
Anywhere, just a bit of pressure. Yeah.
Do it.
Just a jab on the ribs.
Yes, I could do it anywhere.
So you're not doing it on a specific acupressure point?
No.
So what is it that you're doing to make it go off balance? Is it just the touching the body? Oh.
Come on.
I thought he's going to do something.
Okay.
Okay.
So just hold your arm up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This is quite strong. So you don't have to be quite as
All right.
strong as that, but it's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
So put your hand over your tummy, because that remember we said with tapping in, the hand over the navel activates, locks you in a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do it again. Okay.
Oh, what did you do?
You've got a spine and
what I did was another one of what they call the
Could you undo that?
yes, I did it straight away. Yeah.
Okay.
So some of the switching tests that we use to make sure that the person's body and your body are actually talking the same language and that you have both baseline. Okay, you'll hear people at shows going, say yes, test,
Yeah, that's what I
say no, theoretically. But there actually are others that are more precise. And on some people I was using 1 finger, 2 finger, but on you I used,
Yeah.
and then, yeah. And what that does, it does the same sort of thing, but it just works on a slightly different level. You can feel it.
I'm strong again, aren't I?
Yes, that's what that is.
Good.
That's the putting it back together again.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So depending what muscles appropriate, you know, if you know somebody terribly well, you can always pinch them on the backside. But but normally sort of the back, or if they're sat down, then the thigh. But you can do these what we call the pre-tests wherever, and it really is to lay down the foundations that our bodies understand.
Yeah. Without this getting in the way.
Yeah, so it's exactly the same as doing a yes-no pre-test with the pendulum. You're
Yeah.
establishing that you're getting a response and you're getting the opposite's response and you're getting a neutral.
Yeah.
But if you do any work and you don't do that, then whatever you've got is quite likely, well, you don't know the accuracy of it.
Yeah.
But if you know how to do the pre-tests and you make sure that you're grounded and balanced as well,
Yeah.
it means that the information that you get is useful and accurate. It's the same with dowsing. The thing is, there are lots of, because things like dowsing and muscle testing are apparently quite easy to do, a lot of people have a bash and swing off arms and sort of push people around, and actually it's very, very bad muscle testing, because they're first of all, they don't realise that we're all the time we're influenced by everything around us. So if somebody is standing next to you thinking, well, this is going to make you go weak, or this is going to make you go strong, or I bet you're allergic to this, then it's quite likely that you'll respond in a weakening way to that.
Unless you have a
Unless you have
baseline
the
set,
baseline.
which is what we do. And the other thing is, it's good to practice, because again, everybody's body's different. So it's like, I could have said to you, don't have to be quite so strong.
Yeah.
But because the way that we teach muscle test is actually very gentle, it's and it's just using the energy of the muscle, not the actual physical. Okay.
Okay. Anyone else wants to have a go? Come on, Ham, go on. Oh, yes, okay.
It's good if you all have a go with Sue, because we have to teach this in the second year, and if Sue's already done it with you, it'll make our job easier.
You, Michelle.
Take that fear out of your voice.
Yes. Okay. So you know that other game we play when we're showing people what muscle testing does? The zips. Can you do that now?
Which one? The thing you got it
Yeah,
there?
that one.
Yeah, that'd be, yes.
Right.
Get them out on camera.
Okay. Not just yet. Right. Okay, now do it, please.
What do you do to you, Sam?
Yeah, now turn it around the other way. Now that's how easily you can wreck somebody's energy.
Just by looking at her.
No, he
No,
wasn't.
I was just thinking that that violet purple doesn't suit her at all.
Yeah, just he was
And then I was
just-
thinking, yeah, that violet purple really suits her.
And it's just that.
Wow.
That is enough
Do you know what? That's what it is then, isn't it? When someone you see a look of someone,
Yeah.
you know they've given back and
Yeah.
forth. That happened to me Friday in the shop.
See, the thing,
Sent me under.
thing
for
is,
an hour.
it's not a problem because
No.
usually that goes on all the time and we just balance and react.
Yeah.
But if we get stuck in that phase where we're
Yeah.
talking,
Yeah, it can really
Yeah.
Wow.
No difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so cool.
so when you start practicing yourself, the key is that difference between the muscle being firm and it going and there not being resistance there. You'll find that everybody's got completely different levels of strength, but it's not down to that. It's down to where the
Feel the difference.
resistance is.
So if I do that, I'm going to do that.
Oh yeah. I missed it the first time.
Yeah, you got it the second time.
Yeah.
Oh, I never had my hand on my belly.
That's all right.
Doesn't matter. It's just
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
it.
very subtle.
It's
though,
very
isn't it?
subtle.
Very,
Yeah.
very subtle.
Yeah.
But
That's-
it's really hard for me to not try and go.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is the key. The key
Yeah.
is the
And-
subtlety of it.
Yeah. And the thing is that when we're using this set, it's not one muscle, it's a bank of muscles down here. This is actually for practice and for visible practice. When you're actually using it as a therapist, you wouldn't be doing that. Yeah? We teach you to use other muscles as a therapist, but it's a good one for demo and to get you used, because everybody can see what's happening. Thanks.
Come on,
Yeah.
Pam.
Oops. Okay? Right. Yep. Not tummy muscle yet. That's just the arm first of all. Okay? Just hold the arm gently. And you'll notice as well that when I'm pushing down, my thumb's out of the way, it's the flat of the hand. I haven't got the thumb underneath. Right? So it's keeping the whole energy tidy. Okay? And again. Yep, feel the difference.
Very clear.
It's if you've not been muscle tested, it's really good to have.
The advantage with muscle testing.
Yes, that was very
Max,
good.
do you want to have a go? Do you want to have a go, Max? Yeah, then you've had a feel.
Come on.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm up. Yeah. Hand over tummy button. Fighting it.
I was going to say,
Yeah. And you see, actually, thanks, Max, because Max's reaction, even though she was a lot more dramatic than some other people's, and this is why it's so good to be able to have a group to practice on, because it's getting to realise that everybody's energy is different, and the feel of being tested, or you testing it is very different. And yours is like it stays and it goes. Yeah. That's good.
So the key to the advantage of muscle testing is that first of all it's a magic trick that people think oh look, it's doing something weird, it goes But more than that when you're using that system is that the body the client's body is familiarising itself with feeling what it's like to be balanced. So that even if you're just running through the pre-tests like you would do when you were going into a session, that itself balances the whole body, and the client's body gets used to that state of balance, so that it's not thrown out so easily by evil stares or comments or advertisements or this colour juxtaposed to that colour or anything else that sort of like would energetically be a ugh.
Because the thing is, it's being energetically weakened, like we did earlier on, is normal because the body recovers. But when the body doesn't recover, because it doesn't know what it should be feeling like to be at a healthy balance, that's when things start going progressively wrong and disease appears.
And that's really the advantage of having a regular visit to something like a crystal therapist, because the body gets familiar with that state of balance and maintains it longer over time, and so it becomes more resilient to pressures. The advantage, it's all to do with information and knowledge and what to do with the information. Everything is energy information. You've got to know what's useful and what's not useful. And if you've got too much noise in your own system, and your system isn't quiet enough, then you don't really know what's useful and what's not useful. And from a therapist-client point of view, if you as the therapist have got nice, smooth energies, then it doesn't really matter so much what you do. As soon as somebody comes into your space, their body will think, woo, nice. And it'll start to encourage that energy balance in them as well. So it's important that we maintain our energy equilibrium on as many different levels as possible. And muscle testing is a really, really useful way, because you can identify precisely what is strengthening and what is weakening. And that's the key, really. It's a clear indication of this is good, this is bad, do this, don't do that. Use this stone, don't use that stone.
But
Finished, not finished.
compared to dowsing, it's not just you that's involved, you're directly communicating with your client's body all the time.
Can you affect muscle testing like you can dowsing then?
You can, but it's like it takes a little, it takes a little bit more effort.
It's more bad muscle testing you can. With a good muscle testing, with a pre-test and things, you establish those clear boundaries.
So can I just have you back a bit, because you saw what happened when someone was very, very critical of your nice.
Very critical.
Okay. So, hand over navel, just make sure that everything's working all right. Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask Si to do the same again, right? But this time you know what's going to happen, all right? Okay. Okay, so he's just done it, and this time it didn't weaken you.
Well done!
But the point is that if you're walking down the street,
be aware.
Be aware that people will be critical of you, and if you're aware of it,
Punch them before they do it.
It doesn't weaken you. If you're aware of that, in other words, if you're protected, supported, when you're aware, it doesn't weaken you. But if you're caught off balance with something like that, then that's the effect it has on the body, is it weakens the body temporarily. Thank you.
I remember a friend.
Positive thought.
I think he enjoyed that more than you did.
And I think that's a useful thing. I mean, that's the party trick we show for people usually when we're talking about protection and support. As people say, well, why do you need to be aware? Why do you need protection? We go, easy, we can show you that just a thought.
I had a friend who didn't like going into town because she used to say, everybody's staring at me and they think I'm awful, and I used to be like, hun, you don't think they think you're nice? Because she's attractive and bubbly.
Yeah.
That could have the same effect.
Yes,
on
exactly.
You.
It's either positive, it can either, but it's recognising that's the normality of walking around with other people.
But she was attractive from other women
Yeah,
that are
who
quite.
she thinks she
Yeah,
is,
you can get that. Yeah.
But then all you need to think is, I know they might be thinking that, but they won't be thinking any. I already thought, and that's it. So it's a level of reality. But it's interesting that if you're caught off guard, like you were, because you didn't know what was coming, is that how it weakens you, and
So
it can show you.
can you use your own muscles to muscle test, or does it have to be somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, muscle testing with somebody else, I mean, obviously as a therapy situation, that is really useful from the client's point of view, as well as your own. I mean, one of the things we do teach you is self-testing within ICGT, and this is one that you can do your yes-nos like you do with your pendulum and what have you. But sometimes the brain just doesn't get it. So you can actually hotwire these into you if you find it very hard. Now, one of the easiest ones is creating a circle and a circle. And yes is when it holds, and no is when you can pull them apart. Yeah, so it's just...
You've got to do it with your body and not your brain, really.
Yes,
Keep your brain out of it if you can.
Which is why when you're learning, you might have to go, yes, this is yes, this is yes, this is yes, this is no, this is no, until your brain actually gets it.
Another one which is slightly stronger in a way is your thumb and little finger together, and then you're using your other thumb and forefinger to separate that, and because that's quite a strong muscle in the hand, yes, the yes and no is very clear.
Strongest finger.
Yeah, that's right. And I actually find when I do this is I actually flick them apart, you know, like you would, yes, no.
But it's not the question of it being sort of there. It's just it holds and it doesn't hold.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a strength of will or force. You know, it's not. Again, it's not to do with strength. It's to do with what holds them.
But I mean, if you wanted to discover what vitamins or minerals you want at a health shop, going around with a pendulum is probably not particularly seemly. But you can probably sort of go around doing sort of self-muscle testing. And there's another one. I mean, you can use any muscles. I mean, the person who taught me muscle testing used to use that muscle, yes, no, and her teacher used to use his big toe. Used to run his big toe over and press down on the quad.
Just sort of holding back
Yeah,
up.
yeah. So it's basically you can use it.
Pretty surreptitious, that isn't
But it's like with the dowsing, you see,
Yeah.
is that all it is a way of showing what's going on
Yeah.
already on the inside.
Yeah.
Sue said she hadn't done those two. I
Yeah.
said she
Oh,
had rubbish
I-
teachers, Sue.
The other one that's a great favourite is, you know, the money one. You know, when people say money, well, if it's a yes response, you can do that quite easily. If it's a no response, it gets sticky.
Ah, okay.
I use that
And a
one.
lot of people really like that one.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one because it's almost like my brain going, I didn't do this.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's also as well as you can really do that quite nobody.
So yes
Yeah.
is easy.
Is it no? Is it gets a little bit sticky?
Can you use it? Because I've done a little bit of like ridding my crystals recently. We just went off with my
Yeah.
daughter, and I put the burial mounds to Stonehenge. Couldn't use the pendulum because it was just flying everywhere. So it was just like intuition. So could I use muscle testing for that?
Yeah, you can self-testing.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, but you know, quite a lot of people like that because because it's easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on muscle testing?
How
I'm
extensive
going to try that one
Are we
though.
going to be learning it in the second year?
You learn how to muscle test. You learn doing this one, but when you actually start working with it, you'll be doing some of the other smaller muscles that are much stronger and actually easier to work.
You'll find, I mean, people do find that, when they do start muscle testing, there's a degree of sort of lack of confidence which immediately throws the energies out anyway. So it does take a while to get used to it. But if you get used to muscle testing, and particularly once you go on to doing the specific techniques which use muscle testing, it's very, it's much easier on it to do the actual techniques using muscle testing often than dowsing, and also doing those techniques usually is the point where the body goes, oh yes I can do this. This works really easily. I can muscle test. So don't be too concerned if at first you feel anxious and you can't tell the difference between weak, strong or whatever.
I think when you do it, when you're actually doing a technique, you're sort of concentrating on the technique, so the muscle testing comes easier, doesn't it?
And the other thing I would say is when you are practicing, family is the worst to practice on.
Yeah, I can't muscle test James.
No.
Why not? Because he's a player anyway,
No,
and he tries to play it, and it all gets really like,
But don't forget,
oh my God.
the advantage is you're making a good link with somebody, but with family that can be a disadvantage.
You're already very tightly linked.
Yeah,
aren't you?
exactly. You know, so it's like pendulum.
Yeah. I was thinking,
That's a
oh
good
my
thing to
God,
know,
I can't
because
show
that doesn't
anybody else
mean
how
what
to
to
do
do.
it.
Exactly.
It's James.
As family is, I mean, practice in a light-hearted way, but don't take it seriously because you just won't get
And
anywhere.
it depends what your family members and your relationships are like. I mean, with some members of your family it might be easy, but with others it might not.
What does it depend? Well, again, it depends on how close you are.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in
And it
family,
also
it's
depends
fine.
on what the power hierarchy is. I mean, parents are
Well, my
usually
dad,
not a good
remember.
idea, whereas partners might be okay. Parents and sort of like,
My dad's
Why
favourite
not
game
play?
as we were kids was to try and get your hand off his head, so I know he'd just be like that constantly.
I remember the first time I worked on my mum, I worked at her place. I had awful trouble, and then I sussed. I had to get her into my therapy room. I was the one in charge. That was all right then. But as I said, it's hierarchy. Once I could take the rug out, I was okay.
It's like the first time I did reflexology on my dad, I was like, relax, Dad. And he's going, I am. No, you're not, Dad. I am. Dad, you're not. How do you know? I went, this is relaxed, this isn't. It's not hard.
Yeah. So when you get to practicing, friends maybe, but don't be too serious about family.
but the thing is, the advantage that muscle testing gives you over other therapies, alone other crystal therapies, is humongous. It's a huge advantage. Not just for the techniques, but also because it gives you a protocol for working, which allows you to do whatever you like and check whatever you like at an energetic level. That's how appropriate it is.
Yeah,
You're not-
directly with your client.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not. You once you've got confidence in dowsing and muscle testing, then you can use anything that you've got available as a healing tool, because you can always check and double check and find out how effective something has been. The trouble with, like we were talking about with the homeopaths, is that what they do, homeopathy is really good, but the way that they're taught to use it, the classical way, is crap, because you're guessing all the time. You're just using your intellect to find out, well, does this person need this or that or that? Or that?
It's
And they-
pattern matching.
There's no protocol for actually checking before somebody takes something whether it's going to have an effect or not.
Isn't EFT, some EFT techniques, they don't use the muscle testing anymore. They
There are lots of hybrid things that have been taken out of the big area of kinesiology and made into specialist things. But a lot of them have taken out all the safety nets and just go for the quick fixes, which seems to be very good, but we know that quick fixes are not particularly very quick or very
They have
fixing.
the price that comes with them, and quick fix will often produce a healing crisis price, which is okay. But the drawback, I mean, particularly from two people who sort of trained in kinesiology, in its bigger whatever, the drawback with the quick fixes is that sometimes the healing crisis can last a long time, and they're very difficult to undo, even with what we know.
But the thing is, I don't think they even probably teach the idea of a healing crisis,
No.
because their therapy is meant to be so effective.
Safe and harmless.
We see what it does is it does the Jenga. You know, the thing that you did.
Yeah.
It does the Jenga mechanism, and I mean, we've had students on crystal courses that have taken the best part of 1 year to actually get over the healing crisis.
The thing is, with that sort of method, it's like taking a 6-year-old and expecting it to use logic and do the right thing when you give it a choice. And that's somehow, some of those techniques go to that level of the body and expect it to come up with the goods that are sensible and safe for it to do, whereas the body will just go for what it wants, regardless of what's safe, appropriate, or whatever. So it's like it's taking away that level of responsibility that a therapist should be using to make sure that something is safe and helpful, not just I want it and I want it now, sort of.
Yeah, I
mentality.
mean, one of the things of removing blocks that we're doing in July is showing you how you can use some of the simple things of belief systems, but when using them within a crystal layout, is you build in the safety. In other words, crystals can build in the safety for you as in itself. So some of the things we're looking at.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, switch off now.
Okay, sorry. Didn't mean the advert at the back, but that was
It's
just
all right.
quite appropriate for that was